Abusia minimum asa de ahia maintain ya mabiase enti medeba na yesua ade megidi se watene ekoso ewo Israel ena afi Iran for entem asisia me no kasai America for so e de omo support akota Israel for echi se ne be ya omo betu Iran for so sa na sa ntokwa imu a ena yenua ba bi de asembusa bi abeto dwa obisa Ghana for munim se Israel oman a eda Ghana for akoma so enti ye bompa ye kora na ne ye kan se Israel nyame ye bibia ne ye kan se Israel nyame na Israel nyame mu no ena yenua ba bi ebisa asembusa na America President Donald Trump nkomo a odie ne ya woye ne bombo osoma ese enkodi awu ewo Iran for so no odi hu nkomo ye ko na fe ye kutie ye wi a ye betie ye nua ba na sembusa obisa nyabotre emfa bufu fa na futu na wonso kire wadwen sane wadwen kire etie ebesisia.
We are here on this Sunday night after the major U.S. strikes on Iran, now directly involved in this conflict. And we are learning much more tonight, some 24 hours after U.S. bombs and missiles struck Iran's 3 key nuclear facilities. A fleet of B-2 bombers, some of them decoys, some taking off from the U.S. for Guam, others then taking off in the other direction for Iran, going undetected. The B-2 bombers dropping those 30,000-pound bombs for the first time as part of this massive strike on Iran. President Trump overnight addressing the nation, calling the operation a spectacular military success. Critics on the Hill tonight warning of what could come next, with Iran now saying it will retaliate. The first video tonight coming in from inside Iran, an explosion and then a fireball near Iran's Isfahan nuclear facility. Tonight, military officials now describing the high-stakes mission involving 125 aircraft, including one group of B-2 bombers taking off from Missouri, heading to the west as a decoy, and then that second group flying in secret heading to Iran. Those B-2 bombers dropping 14 massive ordnance penetrator bombs capable of penetrating deep underground on Iran's Fordo and Natanz nuclear sites. This is an animation, of course, and it is still unclear tonight how far those bombs penetrated beneath the earth. In addition, Tomahawk missiles from a U.S. submarine striking the third site, Isfahan. Tonight, satellite images right here of that site 1 week ago, and this satellite image of the Isfahan nuclear site tonight. You can see the evidence of the damage. And this evening here, new questions about Fordo. Satellite images from the days before the strikes show a line of trucks on a service road there. Was Iran moving nuclear material in the days before the attack? Tonight, President Trump saying Iran must now make peace, warning of additional targets if they do not. We begin tonight here with our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, in Tel Aviv tonight with new reporting, new details inside those 25 minutes over Iran.
Tonight, the first video emerging from the US's audacious attack on 3 Iranian nuclear sites. A fireball lighting the night sky. Explosions heard in the distance at Iran's Isfahan nuclear facility, part of the barrage that included the biggest strike by B-2 stealth bombers in US history. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth before the cameras today.
This is a plan that took months and weeks of positioning and preparation so that we could be ready when the President of the United States called.
President Trump giving the final order for Operation Midnight Hammer last night, a highly classified, top-secret mission that only a handful of US officials knew about, and one that was full of deception.
It took a great deal of precision, it involved misdirection, and the highest of operational security.
About a dozen B-2 bombers taking off from Missouri early Saturday morning, with a decoy group of about half of them heading west towards Guam with trackable movements. And while the world was looking the other way, a short time later, 7 more B-2s taking off, but this time heading in the opposite direction, to the east, directly towards Iran, with no transponders and minimal communications. Those bombers completing multiple mid-air refuelings throughout the 18 hours it took to fly to Iran, the longest since right after the 9/11 attacks, and once over land, linking up with additional support aircraft. The Pentagon saying the 25-minute mission inside Iranian airspace began at 6:40 p.m. Eastern. A first wave of US fighter jets sweeping in front of the B-2s to protect them from possible enemy missiles and warplanes, all part of the deception. Then a lead B-2 bomber dropping the first two 30,000-pound bunker-busting bombs called the Massive Ordnance Penetrator, or MOPS, on Iran's Fordo nuclear site, buried deep under a mountain.
The remaining bombers then hit their targets as well, with a total of 14 MOPS dropped against 2 nuclear target areas.
Those massive bombs hitting facilities at both Fordo and Natanz, marking the first time they've been used on the battlefield.
We are currently unaware of any shots fired at the U.S. strike package on the way in. Iran's fighters did not fly, and it appears that Iran's surface-to-air missile systems did not see us.
Right after those bunker-busting bombs struck, U.S. missiles hitting a third target.
A U.S. submarine in the Central Command Area of Responsibility launched more than 24 Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles against key surface infrastructure targets at Esfahan.
In total, 125 aircraft and 75 precision-guided weapons were used. New before and after satellite images showing the destruction left behind at these sites. What appears to be extensive damage at buildings in Isfahan and in Natanz, an 18-foot wide hole directly over part of the underground military complex there.
Final battle damage will take some time, but initial battle damage assessments indicate that all 3 sites sustained extremely severe damage and destruction.
But questions tonight about the impact of those US attacks and whether Iran preempted them. Satellite images from the days before the strike showing unusual activity at the Fordo nuclear site. A line of trucks seen on a service road. It's unclear if Iran anticipated the bombings and moved nuclear material beforehand. Just hours after the US strike, Iran retaliating, firing around 20 ballistic missiles at Israel. Massive destruction here in northern Tel Aviv. You can see the clear-up operation underway, but just look at the destruction to what was a residential apartment block. Again, Iran responding after those American attacks. Iran calling the attack outrageous and a breach of international law, threatening a heavy response and warning US bases in the region are vulnerable to attack. President Trump addressing the nation after the attack, saying Iran must now make peace, warning Iran and its proxies against any retaliation against the US, saying the US will hit more targets with precision, speed and skill.
Tonight I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success.
And late today, those B-2 bombers that hit Iran safely returning home to Missouri. Our affiliate, KMBC, was there some 36 hours after they began their mission.
A great sight to see those B-2 bombers back on the ground here in the U.S. Let's get right back to Ian Panel live tonight in Tel Aviv. Ian, you and I were on the air last night here after these attacks were revealed. As we know, there are tens of thousands of U.S. troops stationed across the region. Obviously, major concern with Iran saying it will retaliate. The safety of U.S. troops throughout the Middle East of utmost importance tonight.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, the president just posting about the B-2's landing, saying they've landed safely in Missouri. Thank you for a job well done. But yes, tens of thousands, around 40,000 troops still in the region. Extra security precautions have now been put in place. Iran, though, saying later today that it was the US that decided to destroy diplomacy with last night's strike, and that the Iranian military will, quote, decide the timing, nature and scale of its response. David.
Ian Panel, who was on the air with us deep into the night last night, back here again tonight, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Ebusia ayro some woman say bomb atutu ya no sana omo city ewa underground a omo alarm ahodro ebubo wiem ebubo kronim enti se bomb na eba esegna kromani bia no modwane akosha asase ase mi bisa se Ghana enti ye was adwan kobie ana eno ene asembusa yentie yenua ban nkomo a odi efa Ghana ene Israel ho for adwen kyebra na bebo ye nyina.
Good evening anuanom ene Friday Rebecca say ahanom no Israel mem no ayeti say SDR sorry homeda ene Friday nempa ne say homeda ene ni ochna Saturday homeda na obia ewo inside ena homeda no bomb no so a start bomb na start ena obia ya alert o hwa me hotel hanom obia wo inside nke ene nko betimi apie omo ba se omo ba akwantuo ma beji ahomete se elat a tourist place underwaters the Red Sea ningina hawa hanom no bomb ninti obia anko ba bia obia she inside because ye hwe ya alert ne so alert na eba no indicates that Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and I started, but not here in Elat. Elat is cool for now, but we all should be careful because Obia is so aggressive, protecting the home. But when my maid dream assembly, assembly pan, besi soon. And you see, study we been see that Israel be every Friday be a Shabbat. Until I'm cast to say SDA for no. Na bisa ho say, enom e been see that. Omo timi atwa every Friday baby omo bom paye no. Na omo ni omo family. Omo akosho na omo bom paye. Ene omo atwa. Ye misa say, nke ene ye da, ese nko omo timi ye den. A bomb paye because the AC and ya de ketwa and some will get on bomb paye. Ye miss I won't say Ghana and I deal with yes here, gas of phoning in our get that and no more jirim pie boom, any empire boy and TSC in a becoso. But ye miss I won't say, Ambassa and no woman come here and pie bonum trim. Inti ene mi hotel hanom ye wo baby e bom paye enka ye se metimi de mo kɔ honom but ade asa mpai bona amaso omo atwam inti ye misa ye ho se time a Israel nyame na ye ne ye bɔ na din no wo Ghana no ada na this time there Israel for no mo di omu nyame no omo mo se din no nka this is the time eso mutimi bodini ye because omu hia no now omu modino but omu atwa omu mpai bomu ade de bi omu akoso ya tetemre mu no yese ne ye omu first time me pemvifi mu nti me bisa questions si a me bisa Jewfo no omu so omu atwa because omu mpe ba bia ne nkofo ahihia bebre omu amom mpai omu bebo omu dem Ghana by this time, minuanom kaya shiema ye bom paye kese. Indi say Israel nyame ne bodin wo Ghana berebere. Israel nyame no wo he. Mo de muni ma mo meka nkyere me na mi hu. Edion. Be say na madwen ho amenti ase. Nti I needed an explanation because I don't understand. This is the time they need the God of Israel. They need it now. But now I couldn't see that. What I saw is almost show my phone so almost show baby a bomb. No, the location of the bomb now is Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, not in Elat. So where is the God of Israel? We the blacks, no, we believe, especially we the Ghanaian. I believe we say God of Israel, God of Israel. No. This is the time we have to think. This is the time. We bibinia nyamesom no enewo. Nyamesom no enewo because you know the good and the bad. Ebiemani. Enye say ebiemani wo kwan best me ka say nyankopon ni wo. But the way Ghana for fa Israel nyame na eba ye no mo de akon ka you imagine say military for kra be da me ha nwumre na ehu hia say me de camera beto omo so nka me de to so ma mu hu say military for tu ekuto omo akodi ekuto omo de ba inside abeje no obi eni wa wabo Israel nyame no ba Ghana de ye be sorry aka Israel nyame by this time ga tons kese me no mienu ye ntiase na eso mo ka tons kese wahu oba security wa ye ward because obi akwa up and down obi adwena na yehye yente mpaibo bia wo mu mpaibo bia nim eye akondie na omuhia assistance now nti ye de yente na woni yemfa mpaibo wasori anopa Sunday nyina
enti eya sembusa sane wadwen kyerete ma yensanka Israel for edwene akode ho Israel for asi kuro e wasase ase Iran for asi kuro e wasase ase Ghana ye de eye mpaibo ye ena ye bisa se empire ende nanso se koba se oman bi e sorry etia yen atoto bomb aba Ghana ha ye kohye ye koko na ase anase underground city bi wo Ghana ha yenso ye bedwane akohye nipa na ubo ni krom din e de nya nkwaje e wasase we so no se nipa no o wakode a o de bo no ho ban wachichiri kuro e wasase ase a wo hye ho wo a ubo ni nyamidin no uni ho hwe yenso na ya no odin subscribe channel no fana futu emfana bufo me yensan ka wadwen kire ye besan e de hia da foforo makrawo